Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, good evening, Facebook family. Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide, and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Brian+Post. I hope everyone is doing fantastic this fabulous Friday, and I hope you've had a great day and you're ready for a great evening. So I have a question for you. Are you noticing a pattern? Not the patterns behind my head, but the patterns in your home, the patterns in your family, the patterns in your relationships with your children. When was the last time you sat down and thought, what was my relationship with my mother like? What was my relationship with my father like? What was their relationship with their parents like? And how does that show up in my relationship with my children? Have you considered the patterns that are showing up today with your family and the challenges that you're having as not new, but something that keeps being passed down from generation to generation, that shows up unconsciously, that shows up in a way that makes you think it's something that's going on today. It's because it's your child's challenging behavior. Hey, Stefan, your child's challenging behaviors and their trauma and their experiences they've had. But have you thought about your reaction to those behaviors? Have you thought about the feelings that those behaviors elicit and where those feelings are coming from? See, the brain always goes back to the way the event was handled the last time. So that's emotional, because the brain stores experiences as emotion, because the brain doesn't store experiences as words. That's just cognitive. It stores the vibration of the experience. It's the vibration that ultimately creates the reality. It's the vibration that creates the visual, the words, the sensory experience. And so when you're experiencing a behavior situation with your child, that behavior is eliciting a vibration. And that vibration is coming into your being, and it is looking for a familiar vibration. It's looking for an experience that you've had previously to inform you of whether this is a threat or whether it's not a threat. Now, what happens is that vibration, hey mom, that vibration shows up in your being and it searches around, and guess what it finds? It finds a familiar story. It finds a familiar experience. It finds a familiar emotional experience. So when Bruce Perry said the brain always returns to the way the event was handled the last time, that doesn't mean just yesterday. That doesn't mean just last year. That could mean 40 years ago. Our state level of memory, connected to our brainstem, stores all memories. Some memories get stored in a coherent, a conscious, organized way. Other memories get stored in a fragmented, unconscious, incoherent way. And then because of the way that happens, when the cellular experience that holds that vibration and holds that story, holds that emotion, gets activated, when it's unconscious and incoherent and fragmented, it doesn't form a cognitive thought. See, when that vibration gets activated and it activates a memory that is coherent, that is conscious, and that is whole, then associated with that is a cognitive thought. It forms a cognitive thought. And so because it forms a cognitive thought, you're able to have a conscious memory. But if that vibration that's being elicited and sent off by your child in their behavior searches your being and finds a vibration that matches it, and it's a highly stressful vibration because it's a highly stressful emotion connected to a highly stressful emotional experience, connected to an experience that you have not expressed, processed, and understood, then it activates your being. And when it activates your being, it creates stress and anxiety and fear for you. When stress and fear get generated, they drive your behaviors, and it becomes very unconscious. So what happens is that leaves you feeling like you were a hostage to your own child. It leaves you feeling like you're a hostage in your own family. And then when you look around you, the people around you feel much the same way because they live with much the same unconscious experience as you may be living. Stefan, who's joining us here, calls that being on autopilot. When we are not consciously aware, when we are not mindful of those experiences that we've had, in those emotional challenges that we've lived through, and they continue to show up in an unconscious way and drives our amygdala, then it sends us into autopilot. And when you're sent into autopilot, you are literally helpless. You're being held hostage to the emotional experience. Because in reality, all exchange is just an exchange of vibration. It's just like harmonizing in a band. You can always tell when one band member is off key. Every experience is that same way. It's just a changing of vibrations. So when you are being challenged in your home, I want to encourage you to ask yourself this question. When have I felt this way before? That's the question. When have I felt this way before? Because if you spend enough time with that, I think you will see a pattern. And I think if you spend enough time with that and go even further, you'll see that that pattern has been with you for a long, long time. And it's probably showed up in friendships. It's probably showed up in sibling relationships. It definitely showed up in parental relationships. Probably showed up in relationships in school. And then if you dig a little deeper, you'll probably find that that same pattern, that same vibration occurred with your grandparents and your parents. Because our DNA, which our cells are regenerated, our whole body is regenerated every 7 years. And the way it becomes a different body, the way it becomes a new body, is that our DNA is encoded in our cells, and that encoding creates the memory. And that memory recreates our physical body. So that's why our bodies can change, but ultimately they're always the same. It's because of the encoding in our DNA. Well, see, within that DNA, within that encoding, is that vibration. That vibration that has gotten passed down. And that's why the good book says the sins of the forefathers will be visited upon the fourth and fifth generations. That is the transgenerational transmission, the generational transmission of stress and trauma. And that's why that vibration, 9 times out of 10, is showing up today in your home. Now, you don't really hear this. You don't hear this every day. Because inside the parenting matrix, we're not thinking about that. We're not thinking about the patterns that hold us hostage. We're not thinking about the fears and stressors that cause us to be on autopilot, recreating the same cycles over and over and over again. That's why you have to step outside of the parenting matrix to think and see and feel differently and stop being a hostage. Stop being a victim. Start feeling empowered and encouraged and hopeful instead of hopeless. I want you to join us. If you've been struggling in your home with your child, I want you to join us in the Lovolution. I want you to join us, and I want to take you through the steps of breaking out of the parenting matrix. And there are steps, and I will take you through those steps and start to pull that wool from over your eyes and help you see differently. If you've been struggling for a year or longer, I'm going to give you a year, because most of the parents we work with have been struggling for 5 to 7 years. But I really want to back that up, because you don't have to keep being that stressed out for that long and keep doing the same thing expecting a different result. Keep going to the same counselors, keep going to the same psychiatrists, have the schools keep telling you the same thing, keep putting your kids on one medication after another medication after another medication. You don't have to go down that path. I've seen too many people have to go down that path finally to get to a different path. So just stop the madness. Go to newparentinglovolution.com. I want you to join the Lovolution. Let me help you break out of the parenting matrix. Give me 30 days. That's all I ask. Give me 30 days. And I don't even need that long. Give me about 3 days. Give me 3 days. And if I don't have you thinking different than any thoughts that you've had before when it comes to your child, then you don't have to stay. A lot of times it only takes 10, 20 minutes if I'm talking to you one-on-one. But join the matrix, come in, join us in the private Facebook group, post your questions, see what kind of responses you get from the parents that are in the Lovolution, from the professionals that are in the Lovolution. It'll be completely different than what you've thought about, what you've been told, and what you've been shown in the past. newparentinglovolution.com. Come join us. Let me walk with you. Think about the patterns that keep getting passed on. In any given situation, we always have two choices. We can continue to react from the same generational imprints that have been passed down year after year after year, decade after decade, which inform us to be stressed out and afraid. Or we can stop, we can slow down, we can take 3 to 10 deep breaths. We can choose love, and we can do something different. God bless you. Big Papa loves you. I hope you have a fantastic and relaxing Friday evening. I hope when you lay your head down tonight, I truly hope that the cells of your bodies release that DNA programming, release those vibrations of fear and stress and overwhelm, and send that back into the universe. Let God take care of that. Let go and let God. And that when you wake up in the morning, you are restored, you are refreshed, you are made whole, you're re-energized, re-inspired, reinvigorated, and ready to have a phenomenal Saturday. I want that for you. I truly do. Big Papa loves you. We'll see you tomorrow.